Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your boy JY, and today we got a deck profile for you, and it's 60 cards. That's right, you heard me, 60 cards. I know grass is banned, but yeah, we're rocking 60. So there was a regional in Melksham, it's like near Bristol, kind of southwest of England, and yeah, it was 7 rounds, about 120 something people. I went undefeated, and yeah, 7-0 and won. And yeah, 60 card, Phantom Knight, PREDAPLANTs, a lot of engines mixed together. So let's just jump right into the profile. So we're gonna go. We've got the BA package, the 3 tour guide. I noticed people are cutting this card, but this card is like super powerful, and that's why I just think it raises the ceiling of the deck, which is why I don't think it's good to cut it. And you'll see like how it kind of combos with other cards. You can basically make Appaloosa before you make your Rusty, which really helps you basically play through hand traps like Nibiru and Ash Blossom. For example, if they try to save Ash for Rusty, or if they Ash the Tour Guide, you can just summon an Extender and still full combo. So I think people think they're fancy for cutting Tour Guide, but the power level of Tour Guide is so high, I don't think it's worth cutting. And I also, for the BAs, 1 Graph, 1 Seer, and 1 Skarm. So I really like Skarm, and I summoned it a few times. You summon Skarm in situations where you can still do your full combo, but you can't make Appaloosa essentially. So in those situations, you'll summon Skarm because it'll give you Tour Guide for the follow-up. And having the Celestial draws is nice, but it doesn't actually guarantee you're going to have a play. Whereas Skarm guarantees you have a play for the next turn. And when you summon Skarm off Graph, it means Seer is still in your deck. So the next turn you go Tour Guide into Seer, into anything, and then Seer will bring back Cherubini, and Cherubini will dump a PK. So it's like a super crazy extender for OTKs. Which is why I think is really nice. And it works in 60 cards because you're going to see the BAs way less. And if you do see them, they're just extenders. Like one game I drew both Skarm and Graph, and I just did full combo anyways. So like I basically specialed both, and then normal Tour Guide for Seer after like resolving my Cherubini. So yeah, the BA package was insane. Even I drew Graph a lot, I drew Seer, and it was just fun because I'm always able to discard them off Torn Scale if I can combo. So that's the BA package. Then for the Phantom Knights, 3 Torn Scale, my boy Glistening, still the Starlights. And then we have 3 copies of Silent Boots, 2 copies of Ancient Cloak, and this time we have 2 copies of Ragged Gloves. So you'll see in a moment there's some cards I play which show why I've increased the count of gloves. Gloves is nice for a few different reasons. One, the attack boost is actually underrated. So it makes if it's the first time you summon a Dark Xyz with this under it, that Xyz will gain 1,000 attack. So that helps you go for OTKs because your monsters aren't really that big, but the extra 1,000 boost really helps you kill very easily. And having the second one is nice just to be able to cycle through him. For example, like on my turn, I usually send this off Cherubini, so my opponent doesn't know what I'm going to do. It gives you flexibility, so you can send any of the other PKs. For example, we still play the One of Greaves. If you have a PK in your hand, you can just send this off your Cherubini and still combo. And then worst case, if you get Nibiru, you can use this to send this, and then summon a PK from your hand to like use a Nibiru token to make Dagda and or make Verte, for example. Or if they Nibiru you when you summon Rusty, if they don't really know how the PK deck works, you can just send the Fogblade to resurrect your Rusty. It has a lot of applications, which I've used the second one a lot. So yeah, and you'll see in a second why I play the extra gloves. So that everything's standard except for 2 gloves. And I still play Terratop and Taxonborg. Absolutely, broken. Really raises the ceiling of the deck. It's a 1-card combo, and even if you draw Taxonborg, I don't really consider it a brick because if you can make Levier or Appaloosa, you can just special it from your hand. Or if you worst case, you can normal it and special summon any of your other level 3 extenders just to combo with Cherubini. And then Terratop is just absolutely insane. Letting you play without your normal summon is crazy. And then now for the spice, we have 3 PREDAPLANT Orpheus Scorpio. And you guys know me, I played this Scorpio so much. Back in the day, we were searching Brilliant Fusion, but now we're going to be searching Fusion Destiny, which was absolutely insane. And obviously, we have the 1 Cobra. And yes, this is the guy that searches you the Fusion Destiny. The crazy thing about this, it basically helps you combo through Lancia, and it helps you combo through Droll as well. And it baits Ashes, so like they can Ash this, so you can special any of your extenders. Or they can imperm this, so your Rusty is guaranteed to resolve. And this is why I played the extra copy of Gloves. Also because we're playing 60 cards, you need to see your Phantom Knights more often. And you can discard a PK for this. You can discard Skarm. It's just really, really powerful. And then you have so many extenders. So if this gets stopped, you can still follow up. And if it does resolve, you just win. And there's another cool application is that for example, when you're going into time, if you summon this and search Fusion Destiny, it means you don't actually have to take 2,000 damage, which can be a big difference if you're heading close into time as well. But luckily, like I only went close into time round 1. Like I was luckily able to declare battle phase in game 3 to just do the damage to be able to win round 1. But yeah, this engine is absolutely insane. And shout out to Tom Rose, very, very famous player, known for playing Burning Abyss and Orcust. And basically when this new format started, he was playing 3 of these and 3 Lone Fire Blossoms. And he was trying to convince me on it because me and him both played 60 card decks back in the day. But I wasn't really a big fan of like the Lone Fire, mainly because it loses to cards like Appaloosa and Ash Blossom, and it doesn't, it's very vulnerable. Whereas with this baits a lot of negations, and if they negate it, you'll still have a dark level 3 on the board to extend with, which is why I like this a lot. Whereas with Lone Fire, if you tribute it off, you have nothing left of it, so it's a really bad neg. But yeah, so shout out to him for actually like convincing me on this. And also the reason for having this as well, so now you have 3 Scorpio, 3 Tour Guide, 1 Terratop, and 3 Scale. So you have so many, and obviously Rota to search Scale, so you have so many broken 1-card starters that just do a lot, which raises the consistency of the deck. So like this is still as consistent as it was to play 45 without the PREDAPLANT engine. And then that's the PREDAPLANTs, and then we have 3 Kagamusha Knight. So this has been bumped to 3 because now you have Tour Guide and the Scorpio, so you have 2 broken starters to draw this with. So even if you see multiples, it's not bad because you can just discard them. And yeah, it's just really good to help secure your Tour Guide and Scorpio, because if they resolve, then you're winning through pretty much every hand trap, most likely. Then 1 Junk Forward, just for the flexibility with Rota. I never want to draw multiples. It's just nice to have it there, and has applications for the fact that it's an Earth. So for example, if they Protoss you and you're able to like let's say Dark Ruler them or Droplets the Fleur, you can special this, normal a guy, make Leviair into the Protoss, just attack it to have an Xyz battle, then Zeus them in main phase 2. So you can actually out Protoss. And with that, we also have the two Psychics. So we have 2 Psychic Wielder and then 2 Psychic Tracker. I bumped the ratios up because we're playing 60 cards. So I needed to have a higher number of extenders to draw. And these are also very nice because they're Earth. So again, they're not dark. So when they Protoss you, you still have options to be able to make Leviair to Zeus them, which is like our only way to actually play through Protoss. So yeah, these are really good. And I bumped E-Telly up to 2 as well. So you're never really drawing dead E-Tellys. And yeah, they're really powerful. And also they don't trigger Appaloosa. So, you can just special them, make a break sword and stuff to be able to beat over Appaloosas. And then, so those are the Psychics and the Warrior Extenders. And then standard 2 Dangers, just, broken, really good at pushing through boards, going second. They're absolutely insane. And then we have the Garnets, the 1 Celestial, 1 Dasher, 1 Scythe. So I saw a lot of people playing Plasma over the Dasher. I don't think Plasma is as good. I understand the reasoning of, if you can summon 3 monsters, you can special the Plasma from your hand. But realistically, if you can summon 3 monsters, you might as well go Verte and send Fusion Destiny. So that's never really going to come up in a good situation. And people think because they win games off the Plasma that Plasma is good. But this gets monsters out your hand. So for example, when you draw, if you draw any monster, you just special it from your hand so that you can Celestial into one of your good normal summons. So it gives you an option to Celestial into Tour Guide, or even if you already searched Tour Guide off Skarn, it lets you special whatever you drew, and then you can, combo from there, which is why I really like Dasher. Like I used the special effect like multiple times, whereas people's Plasma would just be dead in their grave. And then the 1 Scythe. So I made a lot of videos about this card, but this card is absolutely insane. At the beginning, I thought the format was going to be quite diverse. There was going to be a lot of rogue decks, but now the format's established. We have Birds, Phantom Knights is a big deck as well, and then we also have the Swordsoul deck. And Scythe just beats them, especially when you do the combo to double Scythe them. If you don't know the combo, you can find it online, or I might potentially make a combo video about that. I am going to do some combo videos though, so stay tuned for that, just showing you how this deck kind of works and how the PREDAPLANTs work as well, and the power they add to them. But I double Scythe people a lot. Like almost every time I went first, I was able to Scythe them. And even going second, like for example, one round I played against, honestly, I can't even remember the game, but there was games where like I would go second and I like Dark Ruler them and then, break their board. And for example, I can't do damage because of Dark Ruler. So then I would set up Scythe after breaking their board. and then scythe them so they couldn't come back in the game. And now to explain why I'm playing 60 cards. So this is the perfect time to explain that. So to see a 3 of, so these are 3 bricks. I don't consider any of these bricks because they're all level 3s. So if you draw 2 level 3s together that you can summon from your hand, that's combo. So this pile here, they're all playable cards. They're not bricks. Even the Scorpio, not even the Cobra, sorry, the Darlington Cobra. There was many times where I normal summon Cobra, special card Mekk-Knight, full combo. So I don't consider it a brick. Like maybe back in the Light Swan days, it was a brick, but not here. But so you have 3 bricks, okay? To see a 3 of in 40 cards is 33%, okay? So you're going to be seeing one of these cards 1 out of every 3 games, right? So once a match, you're drawing one of these cards. Whereas if you play 60 cards, to see a 3 of is 23%. So instead of going from seeing one of these once every 3 games, you're only going to see 1 every 4. So that makes a big difference when you're playing like longer events. And then I don't even really consider the Scythe to be a mega brick because most of your hands can actually make DPE. So worst case, if you just make a DPE and set this, that is good enough. Obviously, if you open combo and you can double Scythe them, then you're playing through droplets and imperm, etc. So that's the theory of playing 60, because part of me was a bit worried about playing 60 cards, mainly because the deck I'm known for the most is 60 card Light Swan Zombies. And like a lot of people just kind of meme me, like they kind of like just make fun of me for playing 60 cards just because I'm so attached to it. But that is the main reasoning for this. And I have so many so many extenders, so many 1-card starters as well. So the deck was consistent. I felt this was more consistent than playing 45 cards. But I haven't done all the maths. It's just some basic kind of like, the basic concept was the bricks really. And also including the Scorpio to raise the overall ceiling of the deck. But yeah, so that's the reasoning for that. And now let's jump into the spells. 2 teleport, because I know they're never going to be dead. And for example, if you draw a teleport with a psychic, it's so broken because you can do your full combo without normal summoning, which happened quite a lot. Or if you draw junk forward with a psychic or rotor with a psychic, you can just do full combo without normal summoning, which is absolutely insane. And sometimes they can bait Ash Blossoms, for example, which is good. Like my last round, my opponent ashed this, which was quite nice because it let me, combo freely. And 1 rotor, because that 1, absolutely insane. 1 Call by the Grave, again, really good card. I don't think I really saw it, but it was good in theory. It's broken. Call by is that 1, so it's broken. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, 3 Fusion Destiny. Now, something funny happened during the event. Round 3, I played against Invoked. And I activated Fusion Destiny because my hand was I drew Dangerous Snake and Fusion Destiny and 3 other unplayable cards. It was like Fog Blade, Droplets, and like Mystic Mine or something like that, right? You're going to see Mystic Mine in a second because I'm playing that too. And so I go Fusion Destiny. My opponent ashes it. I'm like, cool, activate the Danger Snake to special it from my hands, right? So I activate the Danger, where is it? Danger Snake. And when I special it, my opponent's like, oh, you can't special because of the restriction. But they Ash Blossom this. So we call the judge. The judge rules it that I can't special summon. And I'm like, I insta appeal. Like I only ever insta appeal if I'm 100% on the rolling, and I like insta appeal. Head judge comes over and he also agrees I can't special summon. And I'm like, oh my god, what is going on here? And I actually managed to win that game. Luckily, he didn't have a lot to push through. Like he wasn't able to do much damage. He literally played Red Eyes Fusion to summon Dragoon and just attacked me, so wasn't able to do much. But after the game, we found the correct ruling online, showed the judges, and like luckily the head judge apologized to me. He was like, I know the head judge. He's a really good guy. Like I've known him for a long time. Super sound guy. But he actually, as I was walking over to him after the match, he was like, yo, I'm so sorry. And he was like really happy that I won and relieved that it didn't cost me the game. And because I was saying, if this is ruled like that for the rest of the event, I can't top. Because like being able to play Verte and Fusion Destiny and like play through negations like Imperm and Ash, that's what makes this deck so much better than it was previously before the introduction of the Destiny Hero package. But yeah, that's just a little funny story about what happened there. So luckily that was resolved. But absolutely insane, honestly. Even on its own, like it can just carry you. For example, if I have this with like a Fog Blade and like a Droplets, for example, like that's like 3 interruptions, and a lot of decks can't even play through that. And then the Celestial follow-up is absolutely insane. So yeah, 3 Fusion Destiny. And then now for utility spells. 3 Forbidden Droplet, Crisp Ultimates, crisp baby. And then we have 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More and 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talents. So these are just like insane board breakers. You know, this is so good going first. Like a lot of times if I got hand trapped, I could use this to rip a card out of the hand or even draw 2 to be able to continue playing, which is absolutely, you know, insane. And stealing monsters to OTK, it just has so much versatility in what it can do. Yeah, so good. And then these are good as well. And the crazy thing about Ruler is that like you can just Ruler them, clear their board and scythe them in game 1, because obviously game 1 scythe will be in your deck. And that is what kind of helps stop you from the follow-up, because decks like Birds have actually a really strong turn 2. They can do the cheesy OTKs with like Nightingale and the other XEs. I forget its name, and the one that searches. And yeah, so they can do insane OTKs with them. But this just, when you scythe them, you can't play. And yeah, these are just absolutely cracked. And then we have I guess the tech. Everyone is kind of playing Mystic Mine right now. So I played 3 Mystic Mine. Essentially gave me like 12 board breaker cards. So going second, it gives me like a really big edge. If I draw, like for example, in my 6 cards, if I draw a combination of 2 of these, I can pretty much break the bird, you know, the bird combo, right? For example, like if I have these 2 together, you know, I can play through the Oath. And if they don't have Oath, like one of these can potentially be enough for me to break the bird combo. But yeah, this going second gives me such a huge edge. No hand traps again, because of the same theory as before. Hand traps are just like not impactful, and they lose to cards like Triple Tactics, which everyone is playing. They lose to Call by the Grave, you know, and they also just don't do enough. You know, you take a card out your hand and you're not able to, like, you're playing with one less card and usually are still able to combo. And Mystic Mine basically helps you play through the auto wins. So if they scythe you, like you can just mine them. You know, they've used their DPE to trigger scythe, so you can activate Mystic Mine and just win. If they don't have like for example, if they don't have like if you can bait their spell, trap negate, or if they don't have one and they have a board, you can just activate Mystic Mine. And what I'll do is I can just summon Tour Guide, you know, summon any like my starters, make any XZs attack, then make Zeus, and then Zeus the whole board, and then the mine will go to grave, and then I can just extend in the main phase too, if I'm able to make Verte, or I can just end on the Zeus with 4 materials. Well, I've used 2, so Zeus with 2 materials, I can still Zeus them on their turn as well. So yeah, mine Zeusing them was insane. Like I didn't deck anybody out. No one ever scooped to this, but like I did like activate mine to like force negates. Like one game I mined to force a Dragoon. He had to negate, otherwise he would just lose. Another game, like I mined the mirror match, the Phantom Knight mirror match, and I just chilled on it for a few turns, and then I basically was able to break his board and set up a scythe as well. So I broke his board and scythed him, so he just had no comeback. So this card was absolutely crazy. And yeah, essentially you had a high like number of monsters to combo, like a good consistency, and like a bunch of board breakers as well. So you're pretty much going second, like generally drawing combo and board breakers. You know, it worked out really well. And that's the spells. Now, lastly for the traps, same ratio as before: 3 Fogblade, 1 Wings, and 1 Shade Brigandine. So the reason I like this ratio, 1, with 60 cards, you're going to see them less, and 2, if you draw them, is absolutely fine. This is an extender. Like, I was never sad to see this in my hand. Like, I love drawing it because it's just a free extender. And if you draw boots, for example, with it, like, you can, for example, let's say play your other monsters, and if they Nibiru you, you can special boots from your hand and combo, or special the Stained Greaves if you drew that. So it's just really good. And these are just fine to draw because you can discard them. And also having 3 is very good for the grind. There was a few grind games where like I went through all of them, and normally my turn 1 combo I'm using at least like 2 of these. So use Fogblade to like special 1 back for a combo, and then you'll either set Wings or send Wings to grave, because this will allow you to summon summon Breaksword to trigger Rusty to scythe them using the Rusty Breaksword combo. And yeah, they're just very, very good. Just having the grind, like this deck, the benefit of it is the grind game. The fact that you can grind for like 2-3 turns, and even going second, you can grind through boards. That's why I like having the full trap lineup. And Wings is insane as well, just even protecting me from getting OTK'd, for example, if I drew it. Protecting Appaloosa from dying as well, which comes up. So yeah, it's very good. So that's the traps. We'll go to the side deck next. Now it gets a bit spicy. So side deck, 3 Cosmics. Mainly because Cosmic is actually just good against the Scythe combo, and against Phantom Knights is really insane. And it's just good against the meta all around, except Birds, because Birds don't really play back row. It's good against Swordsoul, like if you hit Blackout, or you can just hit their Floodgates. It's just a good 1-for-1. Yeah, so it's good against them. It's good 3 Twin Twister. Again, just generic back row removal. And then we have 1 Harpies, 1 Lightning Storm, and 1 Reboot. So only 1 Harpies because it's absolutely insane. Only 1 Lightning Storm, mainly because it's good against monsters. I never want to see it in multiples. And I really I just want to, I feel like 1 is enough. And the issue is that these are chainable, whereas these 2 aren't, which is why I play less of them, because they're only in there for specific matchups, like against Rogue and stuff like that. But these are really good because they're chainable cards. And same with Reboot as well. So of course, Reboot's a god card. They're chainable to cards like Imperial Order, cards like Anti-Spell Fragrance. So when you're going second against a lot of meta decks, they're going to be siding Anti-Spell and Order. So you just need chainable cards, because you know, if you try to play Fusion Destiny or one of your like spells like Dark Ruler and they chain those cards, you need to chain one of these to be able to out them. So, and I have a high ratio, 9 cards, mainly because like back row decks can be really hard to play against, and you need to have more to be able to see them. And my main deck is good enough really to carry me going second against a lot of meta decks. You need a high number of back row cards to be able to see them, because you really need to see them game 2 and 3 to carry you through those games. It can just, you know, making like rogue decks free, even though I didn't really play against much rogue. Most decks were fairly meta. I'll go into my matchups in a second. And lastly, 1 Imperial Order for going first. This is like just a god card, so that's why it should be banned. Please ban this card. It's just so unfair. Like I think Scythe and this are problems, and they just should be banned. And then my going first package would be Lancia. So going first, game 2 and 3, depending on the matchup, I would actually side this in, and I would basically Scythe and Lancia them, like in their turn, and it turns off the Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Extravagance, and it turns off Evenly Match, and it can lock them out the game, like Invoked, for example. I played against 2 Invoked, and this can just lock them out the game. And going second, if I happen to draw it in my opening 5 against like those decks, is, you know, pretty good. And then this is like the goo. So we have 1 Rhino Warrior and then 1 Token Collector. So when I go first against Swordsoul, I'll side these 2 in. So essentially, if I can Cherubini, and if I have an extender to make Rusty, I'll send this off Cherubini, and then Rhino will send this. So it means whatever happens, I'm still going to Scythe them, but whatever happens to my board, if they try to do their little Moye, Taiye, Long Young, any of them guys, I just slam a Token Collector on the field, and they just can't play it. So it's like an insurance policy, you know. I actually work for an insurance company myself, but forget about my real life. Yeah, Token Collector it only happened 1 time, because I played against only 1 Swordsoul player, and it didn't matter because Scythe was enough to carry me in that game anyways. And but yeah, also there's a second application which is insane. So going second against Swordsoul, I'd side both in, because they're gonna Protoss me, right? But what I can do is my tour guide. Guess what it summons? If you guys played BA back in the day, you know, shout out to Fafa, who's still playing BA right now. You would normal tour guide, special the Rhino Warrior, because it's an Earth, right? So I'm playing against, like, let's say I'm playing a Swordsoul. They Protoss me and they have a Baron de Fleur, right? If I draw, like, let's say any of these spells, for example, I can draw Mystic Mine, I can draw Droplets, any of these spells, right? Or even like, yeah, just mainly these 9 spells, right? If they have a Baron de Fleur with it, right? For example, or if I draw my back row removal to out their back row, I can go normal tour guide, special Rhino, I can overlay for Levier, attack them, main phase 2, make Zeus, detach 2 to clear their board, and then Rhino is going to send Token Collector so they can't play the next turn. So in theory, it was pretty spicy, but it didn't actually ever like come up for me, luckily, because I only played against 1 Swordsoul. But we'll see. I need to do some more testing with it, so I haven't actually tested this deck a lot. But in theory, it's pretty insane. And then the last card, last monster would be the Barbar. This is for time. Luckily, it never came up. But I actually also side Barbar and this going first, mainly because this is a good discard and this is just a good level 3. And this, again, if you can make Cherubini, it's just an extender. So like I take out like cards like Mystic Mine and Dark Rulers and put these 2 in and like order, just because these are more good going first cards, because there's still combo cards. Even if you draw these 2 together or with the graph, you can just do the classic BA, you know, stuff. So that's why. And it just adds the extra consistency, even though the deck like pretty rarely bricks. And then lastly, 1 Access Code Talker, because my main extra deck is so tight, I couldn't fit this in, and this rarely comes up. It's just to out cards like the Ignista Arrival. Out in boards against back row decks, for example, you can like go into this. Going second, I always side this in. Or if I'm going first and I don't need the card I've put in my extra to replace this, I'll side that out and put this in. And it come up a lot of times where I just able to OTK with this. For example, one game, I had my opponent basically like negated my Verte. Actually, like he negated my Verte and had Dagda in the extra deck zones. And I had to link them two into an access code, so my zone was free to break Sword back the Rusty, because he held Imperm for Verte. So it came up there as well in game 3. But yeah, that's my whole side deck. And also, there's nothing wrong with siding extra deck cards. Like this is, it won me a few games, and it's just useful to have as an out to big monsters as well. But just game 1, I don't feel like I need it. So that's why I sided it, and I'm happy I sided it, to be honest, because it's pretty good. And so that's the side deck. And then now for the extra deck, 1 Cherubini, 1 Rusty Bardiche, these are standard, 1 Dagda, standard as well. Just, it's insane. It's just, it basically gives the Phantom Knight an FTK, which is what makes this deck so good, because your win rate going first is very high. Like, I'd say if you're Scythe, you're winning more times than doing the bird combo, just because, like, they just can't play. Like, you lock them out of the extra deck, all their cards just do nothing, they just turn off. Whereas even if you do the full Tri-Brigade combo, there is a chance that your opponent could open like crazy board breakers to out it. Whereas it's very limited outs to Scythe. They have to draw cards like DD Crow, cards like Call by the Grave, which are just not just Call by Grave is a 1-up, for example. Like droplets, Imperm, nothing really stops this because you do the double combo where you pop this to resurrect your Scythe. 1 Unicorn, just standard, really good, just not cuttable, and then 1 Appaloosa. So I make this a lot, going first. If I have enough extenders, I'm always going for this to protect myself. If I have enough to still do the full Scythe combo. And then like after my first turn, for example, if I haven't made this, when I do my follow-up play, I tend to try and make this within 4 summons if I have Tour Guide, for example, because it helps you play around Nibiru. Because a lot of times people can potentially top deck a Nibiru, and you can really easily run into it, but I'm always making sure to play around that. And then we have the Xyz, 1 Levier, double break sword, kind of mandatory cards here. And then we have, this is the card I added in, number 80, Rhapsody and Berserk. Basically, it banishes Celestial and Phoenix Enforcer. I actually never made this. There was a few times where I could have made it, but I had better options to like go for OTKs, or yeah, just other options I could do. So yeah, but in theory, is very good. I think just having it there, I always felt comfortable knowing that if my opponent does have anything relevant in the grave, like Celestial and Enforcer, I can use this to out that. So yeah, and then this is usually why I side out in particular matchups. 1 Redoer, absolutely insane as well. For example, if you open the Predaplants, instead of making Verte, I'll make this. And this just chills in the field, takes the top card of that deck. If you draw a spell, you can just banish it to draw a spell, and then it'll come back in the next turn, adds a lot of pressure, and it helps you play around cards like evenly, because if they're evenly you can have this and DP coming back, so you just practically OTKing. And then for OTKs, it's 2400 attack. So if you have gloves under it, for example, goes up to 3400. So really good for OTKs as well, and just good in the grind. This really helps carry you in the grind. 1 Downed Magician. I saw some people not playing this, and I think that's absolutely insane, because this gives you the chance to Zeus twice. It gives you the 4 material Zeus. And that 4 material Zeus is very important, especially in this deck because I'm playing Mystic Mine. And then the 1 Zeus, he's absolutely busted. Like one of the best Xyz cards ever printed. So good. And then lastly, 1 Link Spider, 1 Verte, and 1 Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. So yeah, that is the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. First, shout outs, gotta make sure I give love to my boys. So shout out to Grandpa, the boy, the OG, supplying me with all the cards, and the guy that taught me how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And then shout out to Cody, the driver. He really put in work this weekend. He had to drive 4 hours Saturday and 4 hours on Sunday through crazy weather conditions. And then shout out to the boy behind the camera, my boy Sirat, filming. Last minute, I messaged him, we need to record a deck profile, and he came through and filmed for me, so shout out to him. And also, shout out to the Toy Planet. They ran a really good event. Shout out to Tim, it was good to see you as well. The Goat Cards, And guys, I made a vlog this weekend, so I'm going to be uploading that very soon. So make sure to watch that. You can see like my whole kind of weekend experience. So yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You know, I'm pumping out content now. You know, the grind has begun. Yeah, I love chatting with you guys in the comments. You know, leave your thoughts, your questions. I'm happy to answer them. And I'm gonna be making some combo videos in the future, in this coming week actually. So if there's any particular combos you'd like to see, let me know, and I'll make them for you. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. You know, take care. See you.